Welcome back. Hey, chicken, hey, chicken, hey. Welcome back to my channel. It is Kiera, and I'm so happy that you done joined me today, because today I'm going to be giving advice to my younger self. Now, obviously, we can't go back in time. We can't change nothing. We really shouldn't have regrets, but if I could go back and tell my younger self 10 things only, 10 things only, this is what I would say. Number one, I would tell my younger self to not worry about these boys, period. And when I say don't worry about these boys, I don't mean like, oh, don't engage, don't talk to them, don't hang with them. But what I mean is don't take no relationship with them seriously, because guess what? They're not taking you seriously. There's so many other things to be focused on as a young woman, and boys and relationships it's not it. At least for me. I don't know about you, because some of y'all done married y'all high school sweethearts, so that worked out for y'all. But if I could tell younger Kiera something, I would tell her to just mind her business, leave these boys alone, they not important, don't even worry about it. And really just don't obsess. I had a ringtone for my little boyfriend. I used to write him letters, I used to do all that stuff. And that's cool, but I was obsessing over him. And I think I would just go back in time and just say, you know what? None of those people will stick around for forever. So worry about other things. Number two, I would spend more time with God. I think that being so young, sometimes we don't understand a relationship with God. I went to church, of course, but I did not have a real relationship with God. And I'm not saying that I would put pressure on myself to figure out who God was at a very young age, but I wish that, 17, 18, 20, definitely the early 20s, focus on God more. You will need him more than ever. He is the only thing that you will ever need for real. The third thing, boo, I would be more conscious of my health. I think growing up in a city like Flint, a lot of times we were eating for survival, we were eating for enjoyment, we were eating because we had good restaurants, because listen, Flint got some bomb food, period. But I would definitely say focus on your health and limit your sugar intake, because listen, we grow up and we get big, baby. Not saying there's anything wrong with the glow up, but sometimes it really can affect you negatively. So I would say focus on your health more, sis. Number four, and this is so important to me even right now, I would tell my younger self to seek therapy. Sometimes we don't even realize that we have trauma that we're running away from, or that our brain has stored to the back of our heads, because we think we're just living normal lives and that there's nothing wrong with us. And we may feel a bit anxious, but really don't think much of it, but we really are experiencing trauma. And I would tell my younger self to start speaking to a therapist very young, because there are some wounds that you have from even when you were a little girl that needs to be healed over, that needs to be brought to the forefront, that needs to be laid out in front of God so that he can transmute that pain into love. Number five, I would learn financial literacy very, very early on. I think that a lot of us do not learn financial literacy until we are well into our adulthood and we have accumulated some crazy amount of debt. Really, it should be taught up in these school systems, but that's another story. But we begin to be responsible for our own lives when we become adults. So I would tell my younger self, hey, make sure you enroll in this course, or make sure you buy this book, or make sure that you follow this person so that you can learn a little bit more about how to manage your money well. Number six, I would tell my younger self to not do anything out of obligation. For example, if you have a friend and you go out and you buy them a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or whatever, and you expect them to get you something in return, that is what you call doing things out of obligation, and it will create so much resentment inside of you, because you should not expect that you get something in return. You give things because you love people. You don't give because you expect something from them. And then what does that say when someone gives you something and then they expect something from you that you're not really willing to give? You have to change your mindset about how and why you give people things. You got to give from a healthy place, not from a place of expectation. Number seven, do not get invested in other people's opinions of who you are, what you do, who you roll with, how you dress, how you do your hair, how you do your makeup, where you go, what kind of car you drive, all these different things. Do not get invested in what people think of you. Other people's opinions are not important at all. That's just the bottom line. The more you feed into what other people think about you, the more you start to lose yourself. And that, honey, is the very last thing that you want to do. So I would tell my younger self, you know what? People gonna talk, people gonna do all these things. But as long as you know who you are in Christ, as long as you know who you are in the inside and the outside, stand strong on that. And that's the only thing that's your business. Number 8. Oh, child, this is gonna ruffle some feathers because listen, we be so mad at our mamas when they try to give us advice. We be like, mama, you don't even know. But let me tell you something. Mamas be knowing. Oh, baby, they be knowing. Trust your mother's advice when she tells you that that person is not your friend. Sometimes we forget that our mothers have been where we are before. Sometimes that we forget that our mothers are mature and they've actually gone through a lot of things. And sometimes they can pick up on certain characteristics of a person who is not really there for you, or maybe have some type of selfish background, or, you know, some type of personality trait that makes them look like, I don't know if I trust that person for you. Because listen, honey, every time my mama has said, I don't know about that friend. That's not your friend, Kiera. And I just be like, mama, you don't even know what you're talking about. You can't tell me about her. That's my friend, period. I love her. She loved me. We be hanging out. Then a little bit on down the line, I be trying to tell my mama, like, remember when you had said that she wasn't my friend? Well, we're not friends no more. And then your mama be looking at you like,
I told you a little bit. I told you a little bit that was not your friend in the first place.
Trust your mama. Number 9 kind of ties into number 8. It is the fact that friends are not forever. You cannot go into a relationship and always think that this person will be by your side until the end of time, because some things are just very, very seasonal. And I think that as a young girl, having certain issues growing up, we have, you know, attachment issues. And so we want to latch on to people and we get so hurt behind them leaving us or doing us wrong or whatever. And so we have a hard time realizing that some people really just are seasonal people, and that's okay. Sometimes you don't even fall out with people. Sometimes you just grow apart, and that's okay too, because guess what? Our lives sometimes just go in separate ways, and it ain't nothing we can do about that. That don't mean you got to stop loving your friend. That don't mean you got to stop calling your friend. That don't mean that you have to have any ill feelings or ill intent or hate on that person or whatever. That just means that y'all separated. Number 10, if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell Lilo Kiera, you are important even if people treat you bad. Like I've said in a lot of my videos, I tend to equate my worth to how well or how not so well people treat me. And I think that that affected the way that I looked at myself for a very, very long time. And so I would go back and I would tell myself, hey, you are still lovable. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are smart. You are important. Come on, The Help, if you ever seen it. If a man cheats on you, that does not define your worth. If someone lies to you, that does not define your worth. If you don't get the job, that does not define your worth. If you lose the friend, that does not define your worth. If you get rejected, that does not define your worth. Your worth is so much bigger than the person behind the scenes or the person who did you wrong. Your worth is built upon something that you can't even see. So hold on to the idea that you are important regardless. And that's on period. Period. You important, boo. Don't you ever forget that. Now, if you like this video, I'm gonna need you to hit the like button for one. Hit that subscribe button if you ain't done that yet. Leave me a comment and stop playing. Oh, and share this video. Share it. Because maybe somebody out there got a little sister, or maybe they young, or maybe they got a little cousin, or maybe they got a little daughter that they need to tell these things to, because sometimes it's hard for you to tell that person that you love, because they be like,
I don't want to hear what you're about to say. I know what I'm doing.
that was me once upon a time. So maybe if they hear from somebody else, they'd be like, okay, she on to something. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my channel today.